Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Neha Saijpaul. I'm a Senior Technical Director at CACI, and I'm also the Delivery Execution Lead for legal supporting CVP contract. And today, I'm honored to be moderating this panel with our exceptional leaders, Dak J, XD Bobo, and XD Tom Mills. Thank you for being here. So let's dive right in. CVP operates in one of the most complex and dynamic environments supporting mission operations around the clock. So to kick us off, as we look back on this year, what major accomplishments stand out and how CVP leveraged AI and cloud to support mission needs and the impact it had? Dak J, if you can start.
All right. Thank you, Neha, and thank you to HSTF for having us over today. Great day of excellent panelists across the board. And for me, it's extremely special to be on stage with two of my XDs, Bobo and Tom. And thank you for moderating, Neha. Yeah, that's a great question to kick it off, right? So AI and cloud, two of the biggest buzzwords in 2025, right? It's a two-part question, so I'm going to tackle it one by one. Let me start with the cloud journey. It's pretty well known, right? I've spoken about it in several events previously as well, about CVP's cloud journey. So it started about 5 years ago, and our AC touched on it a little bit, and so did Sunil, our CTO, our excellent CTO and CIO. We've been on this cloud journey for a little bit, and I'm happy to say that we've migrated almost 90% of our applications over to the cloud, and 60% of our database tier. The remaining 40% is not chump change. It's about 50 to 60 petabytes of data that sits on-premise right now that we are focused on migrating over to the cloud in the next couple of years. So it's easier said than done, and it's a lot of effort and time is going to go into that, right? And AI. You asked about AI, right? So the convergence of cloud technologies and AI is going to be an absolute game changer for CVP. And I can tell you, AI is a resource hog, and it goes hand in hand with the cloud technologies and our ability to have our applications and our data reside in the cloud. What we've done in 2025 is we've transformed our organization more into like data-driven, proactive systems organization. So we have been focused on how to leverage our data better, and as we are migrating our applications over to the cloud. And that's been our biggest focus. And there are several areas that we continue to enhance, leveraging AI and cloud technologies, especially in the mission space, starting with our biometric entry exit, right? It's a partnership that we have with our Office of Field Operations and the leadership there. And we've done some excellent work with enhancing some of our TVS, Traveler Verification Service capabilities, and enhance the passenger processing as well as the officer experience when it comes to facial biometrics and how we clear travelers. Focused on national security and officer safety, but also when the benefits when the officers see the benefits, the traveler automatically get those benefits because they also get processed faster. Right, so that's been a big area of focus for us. We've also expanded on leveraging cloud and AI in touchless fingerprint scanners, helping Border Patrol with encounters in remote areas. We've also leveraged, Tom and Bobo can speak on it more, in the trade space. We've leveraged cloud technologies and AI in enhancing some of the capabilities there. NII, non-intrusive inspection space, is another one where we've done a lot of work, where we're leveraging images, leveraging AI to adjudicate images, give the officers the data point that they can use to clear cargo and travelers faster. So the sky's the limit. There's a lot of additional capabilities that we've deployed over this last year. It's been a busy year of tremendous success for CVP and OIT, just to name a few. But I'll turn it over to my XDs, starting with Tom, to touch on some of the areas that he's worked on from a cargo standpoint.
Great, thank you, Dak. Well, first of all, thank you for the invite. It's always good to come out and talk to all of you guys, and I see so many familiar faces. It's always good to get the IT guy out every now and then. And I'm not in front of you talking about a system outage or what happened and all that. So it's very nice to get out and talk.
That's true.
Yes. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that cloud has enabled for the trade applications. It really is about resilience, scalability, and most importantly, adaptability to new data sets that help us in our trade enforcement mission. I think you guys are familiar. We've done 40 presidential actions to date, and the revenue collection associated with that is 140% higher than we had last year. And we were able to keep up with all of that in large part because of what we've done with our cloud migration bids. So we're looking at using managed services in cloud. And I think one of the things that I'm most excited about that's coming up is starting an effort with the Commercial Solutions Opening Pilot where we could actually leverage commercial solutions to get cutting-edge technologies, to ingest better data sets to help inform risk assessment. And what that means is safer goods coming in, more compliance, better revenue, and really guaranteeing economic security for our country. So I think that's a good summary of some of the stuff that we've been pretty excited about here in supporting our trade mission. So, Bobo?
Yeah. So over the last year, we've completed most of, if not all of our journey for our application layer to the cloud. And one of the things prior to coming to BEMS-D, I noticed is, there's these outage calls that happen. And that was kind of the way of our life for years and years. And it would be hours and hours of outages. It used up my nights and weekends, but more so it was impactful to the mission. And the migration to the cloud has really, the resiliency that we're seeing from the cloud and the speed at which we can react to these outages is tremendous. So being there now, we've kind of set a new standard, and it's a nice standard to have.
What a concept. We're able to enjoy weekends now.
I don't miss those days, I'll tell you that.
XTs, I hope you're not jinxing yourself. You may not enough
Yeah. Going into the weekend, right?
Confidence at this point.
You're thinking about it too much, but that was great. Really impressive accomplishments, especially given CBP's operational tempo. So that naturally raises the question of how do you balance modernization around AI and cloud with the need for uninterrupted 24/7 operations across the country?
That's a perfect segue to what Bobo was talking about, right? The resiliency that the cloud offers. It's a game changer for us. And I don't miss those days when we used to stay up all night till 2 a.m. with trade yelling at us, Tom, sushi brokers and like alpha brokers, right? Sushi brokers and cheese brokers calling us at 2 a.m. in the morning, yelling at us on why ACE is down. No, we don't miss those days. No, it's when we started the journey, it started with the governance under our AC's leadership. And we came up with the right architecture. And Sunil touched on it a little bit, our CTO, about having the right governance and architecture in place. We didn't want to take that apple and swallow it down a whole. What we did was we came up with a systematic approach, a roadmap of how do we plan on transitioning our applications to the cloud, right? We drew a line in the sand and said anything that we build new is going to be cloud-based. Like that's where it started. And thanks to our partnership with our Office of Field Operations personnel, our Border Patrol personnel, AMO, and our mission partners, we're supportive of that vision from leadership from top down, right? And that's where it starts. And then the next step was to look at our mission application space, the legacy application space, I'd like to call it, and say which ones could be refactored, containerized and into microservices and stuff and moved to the cloud, and which one had to be blown up and rebuilt, right? So we had to come up with a roadmap across each of our organizations. And having that governance in place helps us build incrementally and have a phased approach to it. And instead of just trying to swallow the apple on its own and then cause outages all over the place because the architecture is not going to match our efforts for resiliency. I'll tell you, CBP operates in 253 ports of entries and over 150 plus Border Patrol stations. No one port of entry or Border Patrol station is alike. So any impact to those mission partners is a detriment to our national security and our officer safety and agent safety. And we don't want to mess around with that. And the economic viability of a country, like Tom touched on, and I mentioned the sushi brokers and cheese brokers. I mean, it's a very complex mission. We're truly a 24/7, 365-day mission, and we don't want to compromise that. So what we did was we leveraged agile principles, agile approach, phased approach, and the most important thing that we established under our AC's leadership and our CTO's leadership is monitoring, and proactive monitoring and addressing vulnerabilities and issues before they occur is the reason why we can actually sleep at night. right? And that was a game changer for us. And that's one of the reasons why we've been successful in this cloud journey, because we wanted to have balance getting there with making sure that our operations and maintenance is not impacted, because our mission applications can't take a break.
Yeah.
You want to add anything to it? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, we always used to read DevSecOps, but when CVP started using it, it was SecDevOps, because we are moving everything to the left, catching things before they become an issue. So,
Absolutely.
So once we balance modernization with continuous operations, the next big thing we are seeing is the speed. Bobo, I would like to get your thoughts on this. We are seeing AI use cases generate mission value more quickly, sometimes in weeks instead of months. How is this shaping the way CVP thinks about delivering solutions, and how are we ensuring that answers are correct, secure, and trusted?
So kind of to answer the last question first, we always have a human in the loop with any AI product. Or any tool that we build, but to the point of how fast are we able to deliver them, right? So thanks to CTO Madhugiri and Dak Mays and having the infrastructure and the AI ecosystem available, we CTO mentioned earlier about ChatCBP, and it's deployed across the agency. As folks onboard generative AI into their workflow, they start coming to us with targeted use cases. And what we're seeing is, because we have the architecture in place, because we have the infrastructure in place, it's taken that final step. And that final step in the generative AI space seems to be things that we could deliver very quickly because of having the setup, right? So we're really just finishing off that end product for the users. And these things are getting delivered very, very rapidly. And to your point, we're able to turn things around a week. Sometimes it's been, I've seen them happen even faster than that, Neha. And so, and the thing is, it's all of that architecture and having that in place facilitates that. And I don't see that decelerating anytime soon. It's really just a question of when the mission identifies more and more items that can be, that AI can be applied to it. So it's only going to accelerate, and it's great.
Are you giving me a heads up that you have your next use case ready for me?
I am.
And of course, all the speed data and the new delivery models ultimately depend on our people. So Dak J, how are we preparing the workforce to effectively use and trust these tools?
Yeah, getting those capabilities out means the users want those capabilities, right? So it has to go hand in hand with user training, not just our end users, but including our development teams to be able to get those capabilities out faster, right? Like Bo XD mentioned, we talk about getting capabilities out within a week or near the next day on some of those capabilities. That comes from resource upskill, right? We need to make sure our employees, our like IT staff, are equipped with the right tools to be able to leverage AI and cloud technologies the right way. And in the last 6 months or so, we partnered with industry and our CTO organization to equip some of our developers as a pilot with code generative tools to be able to play around with it and see how AI can save some of our time. Our AC will probably have the dashboard handy, which I don't, unfortunately. He's the dashboard guy for us, right? He's awesome. And the dashboard shows exactly how our developers are utilizing the AI tool, the code gen tool. And I can tell you, just within the last couple of months, we've seen significant amount of savings. We've seen immediate 40% savings in the amount of time a developer takes to generate code using it and accepted lines of code, resulting in over $1 million in savings. Right? And that is only a small subset of our development team right now. Like, translate that to, I know CTO talked about ChatCBP and having ChatCBP now available to 65,000 CBP users. All of our employees and contractors have access to it too. What we have to do now is, how do we now educate the workforce to take advantage of those tools that we're able to give them, right? And that comes with training, communications, outreach, and that's easier said than done. And I think that's an area of focus for us as we transform our workforce, not just our IT workforce, but also working with our mission partners and making sure that they're also able to take advantage of these tools to make their lives easier and take some of the administrative burden away from them. I think that'll be a game changer for CBP in its whole, because our mission doesn't stop for anybody. Right? I think, Tom, you have some specific use cases that you're working on from a trade space that you can address.
Yeah, and I like Dak J had said, the training afforded by, you guys heard from Sunil earlier, and sponsored by our AC, has given us a lot in the realm of AI. And I'll just give a couple instances of where we've seen a lot of traction in what we could do with AI, particularly in the AI code assist area. Neha, you'd mentioned about modernization and how do we balance modernization around moving to AI and cloud and balancing that against our 24/7 operations. What cloud did offer us is a lot more automation for deploying code into production. And then what we've also subsequently found out is that cloud native pipelines integrate well with AI ops tools. So it really gives us much better insight into the health of our applications, all the underlying supporting infrastructure. We don't have to now get on calls with the infrastructure team. Actually, the development teams themselves can figure out what's going on because we have insight into operations that we never had before. And that results, again, in a lot fewer incidents. I do know that this year, every time weekends are back now, and you get suspicious, like, why is the phone not going on? I know transaction volumes are higher, but the phone is not ringing. But that's what we're seeing, fewer incidents, and then when there is an incident, it's much faster to resolve because these ops tools and these AI ops tools give us insight into where the problem is rapidly. AI has also come to help us in approaches to modernize applications, and we talked about AI code assist, and I can tell you, I know you all are very familiar with the problem of legacy code, or what I don't know if we're allowed to call it legacy code anymore, but what we found is that using these code assist agents, we can actually interpret code that was written, many decades ago. And help us accelerate those cloud migrations. It's been a big deal for us. I know some of the stats that were thrown out for the senior developers. They're seeing a significant increase in productivity because the AI code assist is helping break down a lot of the old code libraries and what was done and how it's written into a persistence layer. And it's something that they don't have to go through the millions of lines of code to interpret that. And then lastly, I'll tell you what we've done in the AI realm, especially with some of our newer technologies that we're adopting. We're now able to ingest data from what we call non-traditional actors in the trade space. So, in the trade space, the traditional actors have always been your importers, your exporters, your carriers, your brokers. With the commercial solutions opening pilot that I'd mentioned earlier, we're able to leverage data that comes from commercial platforms that have much richer insight into the logistics supply chain. And what that means for us in CBP: better enforcement, better revenue collection, better regulatory compliance. And then for us in the public, economic security and a lot more reassurance that the products that you guys are buying are safe.
It's amazing to see the transition. Earlier this year, when we are OIT, our job is to provide solutions. And as we were working with these various mission groups, we would be like, hey, can you add AI to it? And now, towards the end of the year, it has reversed. They come to us and they're like, hey, add AI to it. So it's great that everybody is seeing the benefit and the speed is really helping. We have been able to do POCs rather quickly with Code Assist, so all in all, great. But XT Bobo, I know you talk about this concept of prompt engineers or AI field engineers, which can really accelerate AI adoption. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so there's oftentimes a requirements, when you're doing traditional software development, there's the requirements gathering phase. And with generative AI, it's almost that it really is where the requirements are your solution, right? And so as we kind of go forward into how we meet with the customer and the mission stakeholders and identify what the problem is and how to solve it, they're having a skilled group of people who are closer to the mission, and actually deploying some of our team out directly into watching the day-to-day of the mission. It's almost solving the problem in real time, right? So with prompt engineering, you go out to the mission, you're watching what they're doing, as they're saying it, as you're seeing it. You solve that problem real time, and you deliver the problem real time. You get the feedback in real time. And to Dak J's comments earlier, that I think if we're ever able to get to a situation where we can upskill our staff that are doing that first touch labor with that kind of support, I think you're going to see adoption of this technology go through the roof. And as CTO was mentioning earlier, we're really in a transformational place with this technology. And I was discussing earlier how it's kind of like giving people Excel for the first time. So when everybody got Microsoft Excel, there was one person in the room who was just like a whiz at it. And you would go to that person, right? And then they would do all your fancy Excel. And nowadays, that's what AI is going to be. We hand it over to the mission. There's going to be a few early adopters. And our goal here really is going to be to kind of professionalize that into the mainstream.
Excel's
I think there was even a question on the previous panel about power users and users that are just beginning to explore AI. I think that's a perfect example of it.
Yeah, we all are going to be jack of all trades because we got AI with us. So building on this, there's also a technical side of enablement. Common platforms can reduce duplications and accelerate delivery of AI capabilities. Bobo, we have seen really strong leadership from you in advancing implementation of CP Common AI Service. Can you describe some near-term wins you've had and long-term vision you have for the platform?
Yeah, so I guess the kind of the IT department's job is to make the technology available. And so we were able to leverage the infrastructure that Dak Mays and Mark James and the ECSD team built. So they provide the infrastructure. The CTO's office already has the governance built into the AI that we're using. And so kind of in this traditional microservices architecture, we just essentially built the microservice on top of that. And so in that, we're inheriting the governance, we're inheriting the cybersecurity, everything. We rely on the CTO's office and the cloud team for the security, right? So that we could just go directly to the customer and facilitate the use cases. So working directly with the chief AI officer and kind of capturing those use cases, we're able to, as we capture those use cases and enhance and kind of continue to build on the platform that we already have, we're building on all of the regulatory checks, right? So we certify for PII and we're in the AI use case inventory. And so we're checking all of those boxes. And as we check more and more, the platform becomes more able to support any use cases that the mission brings. And they have, quite frankly, it's just going to be a vision where the use cases come in more and more rapidly. And we would just be able to deliver faster.
I mean, one of the reasons for our success is that we don't do things for the sake of doing it, right? We don't want to just say AI because we're doing AI. Our mission partners have been super educated about this, and they're the reasons why the use cases are coming to us, right? It's mission drives what we deliver, oftentimes. And that's what XD was talking about, right? So it makes it easier for us to implement those solutions because the demand is coming from them.
Very well said. We talked about enablers for AI and how fast everything is moving. Now let's talk about how it actually becomes real operationally. So how do you prioritize where to invest first to balance mission urgency with long-term enterprise value?
I mean, that's the key, right? So we just talked about it, where our mission partners drive where we need to focus on. That's where the enterprise AI comes into play, right? So where CTO Sunil talked about ChatCVP in general, right? That's a tool that's available to all the individual users. Where do we take that AI models and apply it towards specific use cases, like CKS, which you guys built for our OPA team? Like several use cases, like NII is another one that is a bit huge priority for CVP. CTO Madhuguri touched on it, Baibhav's team is working on it, but as a software organization, every one of my team is going to take advantage of the benefits of NII, whether it's in the passenger processing space or the cargo processing space. That's where some of those specific use cases come into play, and that's driven by our mission partners. And they give us those requirements. Right? Having enterprise chat and enterprise AI is one aspect of it, but the individual use cases is what's going to help us from a mission standpoint.
Yeah, so building upon that, how do you measure success? How do you decide whether to take this proof of concept forward and scale it to the enterprise? Like, what's that litmus test?
Yeah, and that's NII is the perfect use case for it, right? Working with our mission partners and measuring the successes based on time saved, right? Baibhav talked about human in the loop architecture that we built, like CTO's organization set up the organization structure. As we look at OIT in general, like it's a very cohesive unit. We have infrastructure teams, software teams, all working together under our AC's leadership with the CTO organization embedded and providing the architecture. So we don't look at a proof of concept. I don't like the term proof of concept. We look for proof of value. Right? Anytime we invest in something, we want to look at proof of value with scalability in mind. Like, how do we take this and how are we going to operationalize this in a real world environment and then be able to measure the time savings from the end user standpoint, right? How much time is it going to save for our officers and agents in the field? Some of the technology that we invested last year is seamless border entry on global entry, leveraging TVS as our facial biometric service. People can, global entry travelers now can get off on select airports now, that's still a pilot, where we get off the airplane, they can walk through with the cameras placed strategically and can process people on the move without them having to do anything about it, right? Those are some of the technologies that we are investing in, and we're actually measuring our success based on how much time it saves for the officers. How does it improve our national security, right? And those are the areas, and that applies to the trade space as well. And XT Mills can point out some of the examples in the trade space.
Yeah, so I think as far, the good thing that we're seeing with the adoption of AI and the adoption of these cloud technologies is that the proof of value, that the proof in whether it's good or not is happening quickly. And I'll give a good example. In the past, we looked at shipments very transactionally. We focused more on the shipment and the container, what's in the container and the goods. What AI, what analytics has given us the insight and ability to do is to focus on the entire entity. So we're not looking at just the shipment anymore. We're not just looking at the goods in the container. We're looking at all the parties involved in the goods. We're looking at who manufactured it, where it was manufactured, what materials were used in the manufacturing of that. And being able to build a holistic risk assessment that we couldn't have done in the past, right? And because it's a huge amount of data, you're talking, lots of data that's coming in, and in the past, very transactional. It was tied to entry of goods, clearance of goods. But what we've been able to do now is to use predictive analytics for risk assessment. It's really about identifying those high-risk shipments, high-risk entities, and to get a little bit more technical, you make it harder for the bad guys that now, because we're able to find them a lot better to import goods, and easier for the good guys to bring in goods, right? What we've also been able to do within our trade analytics workspace is now being able to do automated document analysis, automate our anomaly detection. I think you guys have heard the whole de minimis concept is gone now. Low value goods, low value shipments, which have traditionally been one of our blind spots, we shut that down, and we're able to shut that down quickly because of our ability to leverage a lot of these technologies. That's we were given that mandate. We were not given much time to implement that mandate, but we were able to do it, and in large part because of what we've got now. So I think as far as like measuring the proof of value, what's good about AI, what's good about cloud is that we really can get to the point of failing fast, right? We know right away, hey, we've run something, we've put it into our algorithms, and we got a result. Or we didn't get anything, and we know it rapidly. We just, in the past, it was iterate, then you could waste months and looking at something and find out, there was really nothing there. But we're seeing the results pretty immediately now.
That's awesome. I thought we were just getting started, but I got the indicator that I need to start wrapping up for Q&A, so sadly. But before we end, looking forward towards 2026, if you had a magic wand to take off one barrier from progress, what would it be?
Let me put my Harry Potter hat on. Right now, no, it's technology moves faster than the speed in which we can implement it, right? There's always barriers, whether it's technical in nature or money, or when you're in a CR, contracts, all of this takes time. And if I had to remove all the barriers, we have an exciting year coming up, 2026. One of the biggest sporting events in the world is going to happen in our country, Soccer World Cup, right, or football. I'd say it's going to be exciting times for our country. And we need to be able to get those technologies that we're building in CBP out there to help our officers and agents to be able to process people coming in. And it's not just going to be athletes coming in, right? It's going to be athletes coming in with a bunch of equipment, support staff, and then there's going to be the audience that it's a global event, right? And it's an exciting time for our country, and people are going to be coming in. And we need to be able to give our officers and agents the tools that they need in 2026 to be able to make this event a success for our country. It's a question of national pride, right? And it's our job to make sure that we are able to give them those tools that they need. And I would say that's our focus, and we would be willing to work with our mission partners and industry to remove some of those barriers that you talked about and see how we can make this successful.
XTs, would you like to add something?
No, so I think, I don't know if I would ask Congress, but I think, I'm really looking forward to change management, right, with the actual, with the end users, and really kind of adopt AI, right? I think that it's, there's a lot of opportunity there, and with that comes oftentimes a lot of change, and hoping that change can be smoothed out would be great.
Yeah, and I think as one of the programs that still has a good amount of stuff sitting in a secret undisclosed data center in Northern Virginia, I really look forward to using a lot of these new AI technologies to kind of help accelerate us moving that gear out of that building, as much as I love that building. But really doing what we can to accelerate us getting out. And then one of the other things that I'm super excited about is the pilots that we have with the commercial solutions, opening pilots, where we could actually really make a huge impact on how goods are imported and cleared into the U.S. So that's kind of where I'd like to go in 2026.
Okay, so I think I have to wrap it up, otherwise somebody's going to turn off my mic. But thank you, Jack J, XT Bobo, and XT Tom Mills. I work with you pretty much every day, and CBP is such a dynamic, critical mission that we're always either sprinting or running. We're never walking. There's no time to pause. So it was good to pause today and hear your thoughts, but unfortunately we're short on time. But I really thank you for being here and allowing me to moderate this discussion. And thank you to our audience for listening in. Happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. Yeah.